Hi guys, it's Heather, the Butterfly Effect plant-based weight loss, and today is Wednesday, and that makes it Weigh-In Wednesday, and that's the day I come on here and I make a video and I talk about how my week's gone and how my weight is doing, because you guys know I'm on a quest to take off 300 pounds. I started out over 400 pounds on my 5'2" frame. I was 436 pounds when I started, and one of my goals that I'm really working toward is to get 300 pounds off and weigh 136 pounds. And if you saw me last week, you'll know that I was really excited because I broke through a plateau. I had weighed 148 pounds for about 6 weeks. Week after week, when I would weigh in, I weighed 148. And I wasn't worried about it because I knew I was eating the right things. For me, that means eating a whole foods plant-based diet without any sugar or oil or flour or alcohol, and really watching my salt intake, and really watching my portions and eating plenty of leafy greens and plenty of vegetables, um, and eating lots of beans and potatoes and quinoa and brown rice and all kinds of yummy stuff that way. So I knew I was doing the right things, but the scale wasn't budging, and that was because my activity level wasn't very great. I had just had surgery, so I wasn't having very good activity level, and I wasn't being that careful about my portion sizes. So I decided I would clean it up, and I cleaned it up a little bit last week and tightened it up, and I got a pound off last week, so I was 147, so I broke that plateau. And then this week I took off 2 more pounds, so I weigh 145 pounds, and I will say that plateau is well and truly smashed. It's gone. So I'm super happy that it wasn't a fluke, that I really did take off 2 more pounds, and I'm back on my way, and I only have 9 pounds to go before I can say I've taken off 300 pounds, because I have taken off now 291 pounds. So I'm getting really close, you guys. I'm in the last 10 pounds, and I need my team. I need you guys with me to help me get through the last 9 pounds, and so that I can say that I took off 300 pounds. But I have a couple of things that I want to talk to you about, and that is more notes from the Ultimate Weight Loss Live conference that I went to in Las Vegas. Had an amazing time and learned a lot. And I'm really excited because one of the speeches that I liked the best, one of the speakers that I liked the best, was Dr. Doug Lisle, who is a psychologist. He has a website called esteemdynamics.org, and he's a consultant for the McDougall program. He does their psychological program, and also for True North Health Center. He's just very insightful. And what I love is Dr. Lisle's perspective is always, it takes into account like evolutionary factors, how we would have been if we were in a prehistoric village, and why some things are, and how that explains a lot of our behavior, and how we adapted over time to cope with different problems that we had. Things like food being scarce, things like food being abundantly available, and we need to get it all in to protect us from the next famine and stuff like that. So he did this awesome lecture that was about the Extinction Burst and the CRAM Cycle. So I'm going to link to his actual lecture because he gave it again at the McDougall program, so you can actually see this lecture. But I'll give you the cliff notes, or what I got out of it and why I really thought that it was a great lecture. So the first thing he talked about was the CRAM cycle, and he was saying that omnivores, and we're pretty much omnivores, right? Or ancient people were omnivores. They would eat meat occasionally. our teeth and everything kind of tell me that we should have been herbivores, but to adapt and survive, prehistoric people would sometimes eat meat if they could get it, right? Okay, and so um, we would eat our normal low calorie, high nutrition food like tubers and fruits and nuts if we could get them. Very rarely nuts, very rarely honey, if we could get it. So we didn't eat a lot of sugar or things like that. We mostly had grains and tubers and just whatever we could gather. And mostly it was women who did the gathering. So our normal situation is to eat those, but they're not that exciting. So we would eat those, but we would eat normal amounts. We would eat normal healthy amounts, and that was we used to spend a lot of our time actually going out and having to gather the food. That would take that's why a lot of people aren't hungry right at breakfast, because if you think about it, ancient caveman or cavewoman had to go out and find breakfast, had to go and pick the berries, had to go and get the fruit, had to go and get some, sweet potatoes or some whatever they were eating. That took time. A lot of their time was foraging, gathering, all that kind of stuff. So by the time they got it, it might be 11, noon, by the time you got it and prepared it, because there's no open the box and dump out the contents, or there's no pull it out of the microwave. Everything had to be prepared, and you can imagine trying to peel a sweet potato or something like that, peel something when you don't have a normal modern peeler. So all these things took time. Okay, so they would eat normal amounts of food, but then when they got a hold of something really more calorically dense, something like somebody got a whole bunch of nuts, or it was a big celebration, so we're going to have some nuts, or actually if they did eat meat, or some hunter made a kill and everybody in the village is going to eat meat or something like that. We have this evolutionary signal that we're supposed to cram. So that accounts for some of why people like me had binge eating disorder. I had binge eating disorder very badly, and so that is kind of comforting to me that it was an evolutionary adaptation that was meant to serve us. None of these things were meant for our bad. They were just good for the time that they were in, and now it isn't necessarily good because we're in a very different time where food is available. So anyway, that kind of explains night eating also. He calls it the CRAM cycle, and he says, you go along and you eat a normal amount of food, and then every once in a while, you have this instinct to just cram the calories in. And so, one of the things that can trigger that is if you are already full and then you start eating, that can be a trigger for your body to make you want to start eating every night, even though you're full. Okay, so we can get habituated to that cram cycle, and we can have it be um, there can be a signal just that it's after dinner, and that could be a signal that it's time to cram. And I have to say that most of my binging was done after dinner. I did a lot of after dinner, and a lot of us have problems with eating after dinner. Okay, so I'm going to tell you in a minute what I'm doing, because I am guilty still. I have taken off 291 pounds, and I still have the bad habit of eating after dinner sometimes. And so I want to combat that, and I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do, and I'm going to invite you to a challenge. See if you can do it with me, okay? And we'll keep track of the challenge on my Facebook page, on my in my group, The Butterfly Effect, raw and plant-based um, weight loss. It's on Facebook as raw, because when I started out, I was a raw foodie. I was a raw vegan. So everybody is welcome in my Facebook group that is a plant-based eater. Do you eat a junky plant-based diet? You're welcome in my Facebook group. Do you eat a perfect plant-based diet, whatever you define that to be? You're welcome in my Facebook group. We don't say, you can't post that recipe because it has oil or it has fake meat or it has something. As long as that recipe is plant-based, and as long as you're even welcome in my Facebook group if you're not a plant-based eater, but if you're transitioning and trying to become one, I'm all about acceptance. I'm all about, make the tribe bigger, bring everybody in. Don't exclude people. Don't make people feel bad. Don't food shame people. Love people. Love people. I am an ethical vegan because I love animals. Guess what? People are animals too. I love people. And so I love you. If you want to be in my Facebook group, you're welcome in my Facebook group. I do ask a couple things. I ask you to not post animal abuse pictures because they make me cry. And almost everybody in there is already a vegan, and so you're just kind of singing to the choir, and it really hurts. A lot of us are very sensitive people, so we just prefer that you don't do that. I applaud you for advocating for the animals, but just not in that group. Please don't do that. The other thing is, please don't try to sell anything because we're not there to get sold anything. We're there, to support each other. And be nice or be gone. This is a drama-free zone. We're loving and supportive. There's plenty of places if you want to have a great debate or a spirited conversation or tell somebody where to get off the bus. You can do that a million places on the internet or on Facebook or on YouTube. So I want to keep my Facebook group as a safe zone. And so only supportive, kind, loving comments are allowed. And that's all my rules. So, and if you post a recipe, make sure it's a plant-based recipe. Other than that, you do you, and and please join us because we are very loving and supportive. Okay, the other thing Dr. Lisle talked about that I thought was really helpful was called the Extinction Burst, and that is, let's say he gave an example of a bird found some seeds in a certain spot, and they ate all the seeds, but they're going to keep going back to that spot to try to get more of whatever it is. And then their craving for whatever they wanted is going to, if they don't get it, so you get addicted to something or you get habituated to something, and then it gets taken away. Okay, so let's say that you were eating cheese, and then you stop eating cheese because of huge personal effort. You don't want to harm animals. You don't want to eat cheese. It's not good for you. You stop eating cheese. So then the first day after you stop eating cheese, you're going to crave it. The second day after you stop eating cheese, you're actually going to crave it more than the first day because your brain is figuring out, hey, I don't think cheese is coming back, and it's going to try and convince you even more. The third day, that peaks. So it's actually worse the third day. And I've always said, detox and stuff is always really bad for 3 days. And if you think about people who quit smoking, they always say if you can get through the 3 days that it's going to get a lot better. And Dr. Lisle said that. He said if you can get through the 3 days, it's going to get a lot better. And so so it's going to go, your cravings here, your cravings a little here, your craving goes up to there on the third day, but then it starts to slowly go down, and it gets a little bit better and a little bit better. But here's the thing. There's this thing called an extinction, it's called a spontaneous burst. Somewhere around day 10 to 14, think about this, have you ever been on a diet for 2 weeks and you were perfect for 2 weeks and then whoops, something happened and then you blew it? Okay, somewhere around day 10 to 14, it goes back up in strength again. It's about half as strong as where it started out. So you'll get another craving. It won't be a craving that you can't handle, but you'll get another craving about 2 weeks to 10 days to 2 weeks out. And you'll get those occasionally. And that is because, he explains, it's a biological thing. It's trying to get the bird to go back to where it found the food in the first place. So it's saying, well, she stopped having cheese, and it looks like we're really not going to get any cheese, but let's try one more time to see if we can get her to eat some cheese. because we've become physically addicted to um, the morphine-like compounds in that cheese. So let's get her to try one more time. Or so if you've had any kind of addictive substance or anything like that, it's going to try one more time to get you to go back. Okay. So the thing to know is that if you're just starting a program, it's going to get better. It definitely will get better. And if you've been on the program for a while, you may be surprised that you occasionally still have cravings. You can handle those. Just remember, these cravings are only half as strong as I had when I first quit it, and I was a very strong person and I was able to stop it then. So if you do have a whoopsie, then the thing to do is to get right back on track, right? To not be like, well, I'm a terrible person, I guess I can't do this, or I've eaten that thing, and so now I'm going to eat all the things because now I'm off my diet and I want to get in all the things that I haven't had, and because I'm going to go back on my diet tomorrow, okay? That is the addictive voice. I call it the saboteur, or I used to call it the brat, because she wants what she wants when she wants it and she doesn't care about the consequence. um, that's just your addictive voice telling you. So you can say, no, I had something I didn't intend to have, but I'm a strong person, I'm not going to have it anymore, the next thing I eat is going to be a healthy thing, I'm not going to wait till tomorrow or till Monday or the beginning of the month or after the holiday, I'm going to start right back on my plan right now, right now. And then I like to emphasize that by, actually taking a bite of a carrot or taking a bite of an apple or eating something healthy right now, so that I can show that I'm back on track. So don't be surprised by those, and it does explain why it's worse the first 3 days. And it was really interesting. You should really listen to Dr. Lisle explain it, because I tried, but he's so much better at explaining it. He's really brilliant, and he does these cute illustrations, and I just think you would really like it. So I'm linking to it down below. Be sure to watch Dr. Lisle's talk. Okay, so next time I'm going to talk about, I got my BIA done. What is a BIA? That is a bioimpedance analysis, and it's a really accurate way to tell your weight, but also to tell how much of your weight is bone, how much of your body weight is because of muscle, where you need to improve and stuff like that. So I had mine done, and Dr. Carrie Saunders was another one of the speakers at the UWL convention, which was awesome. And she was great, and she gave a lecture. So I am going to talk about my own BIA. I'll tell you what it said, and also what Dr. Saunders says about the different components of the BIA. And so I'll do that next time. In the meantime, I hope you have an awesome week. I hope you'll stick around, because I'm gonna hit my goal here pretty soon. 9 pounds. Woo! 9 more pounds to go. I've taken off 291 pounds, and that kind of blows my blonde little mind. I love you guys. I hope you have a great week, and I'll see you next time. Take care. Bye bye.